Hi, this is Usha. Welcome to Rathod Science classes. Today in this lecture, we are going to see current affairs of 5th August 2021. In this lecture, we are going to discuss 10 topics which are very much relevant to UPSC. So, let's get started with our discussion and let us see first topic. Title says Maiden indigenous aircraft carrier begin trails. So this is one of important topic from our defense and security, which mainly comes under GS paper 3, and this topic can also be studied under science and technology, which comes again GS paper 3. So this topic, it is very much important from your prelims point of view, and you can expect questions from this INS Vikrant. Okay, so now let us try to see this topic in a very great detail. So if you see context, it mainly says that it is the first indigenously designed and built aircraft carrier of India. So this INS Vikrant. So INS Vikrant, it is the first indigenously designed and built aircraft. So about 75% of this design and mainly developed indigenously. And this aircraft, that is indigenous aircraft carrier, it will be named as INS Vikrant once commissioned. So already it have done its trials, but that is basin trials. Now it is going to begin its sea trials for next 4 days in the coast of Kochi. So this article mainly says that this INS Vikrant, it is one of landmark achievement, and it will put India in a list of few countries that have capability to manufacture aircraft carriers. So India will become 5th country. Okay, so earlier other countries like America, Russia, England and France, they have this type of technology, and India also will add it into that list of few countries that have capacity to manufacture aircraft carriers. And if you see some more details, it mainly says that it is the largest and most complex warship ever to be designed and built in India. So it will mainly boost Atmanirbhar Bharat and Make in India initiatives. So if you're talking about some particularities of this aircraft carrier, it is 40,000 ton warship, and it laid in February 2019 and it has built in December 2011, and basin trails recently completed in November 2020. Okay, and it is having some special features like it will have separate 2 lanes of aircrafts. Okay, and next one is it will also operate MiG-29K fighter aircraft, Camo 31 air early warning helicopters, and as well as MH-60R multi-role helicopters and indigenous advanced light helicopters. So it is going to commission, it is expected to be commissioned in Navy by August 2022. And INS Vikrant will become India's second aircraft carrier in service. Earlier we have one, but it was not Indian made, that is indigenously made. It is from Russia. So if you are talking about significance, what is the importance of this aircraft carrier? So it will increase combat capability of India, and it will helpful mainly to reach, and it also improves versatility of aircraft carrier, and it will also add some more capabilities for India like defense, and also helps to secure India's interest in maritime domain also. And it would offer an incompatible military instruments like air interdiction, airborne anti-submarine warfare and airborne early warning, anti-surface counter-airfare, offensive and defensive things. So in this way, this aircraft carrier, it is very important. And if you're talking about India's sole aircraft carrier, that was INS Vikramaditya, and it is Russian origin vessel. So it is one important prelims question also. So now let us move on to next topic. A title says Air Quality Commission Bill for National Capital Region cleared. Okay, so this article talking about one important bill, that is Air Quality Commission Bill 2021. So this topic will be important from our polity point of view, which comes under GS paper 2, and you can expect some facts regarding this bill in your prelims also. So now let us try to see this topic in a very great detail. So why it is in news? Because Lok Sabha passed bill to formalize the Commission for Air Quality Management for National Capital Region and adjoining areas. So what happened here? Government came with this ordinance regarding this Air Quality Commission, and now bill introduced in Lok Sabha, and Lok Sabha passed this bill. So this is background. And now let us try to talk about details of this bill. So this bill mainly focuses on better coordination, research, identification, resolution of problems which are surrounding the air quality index. So it is mainly focusing on air quality index. As you all know, in National Capital Region, Delhi, okay, so in National Capital Region here, what happened, there will be increase or worsening of air quality, that is in especially in winter seasons. So because of this, we can see there will be high amount of fog mist that will be formed, and even road which is invisible during this winter months. So one important reason here is bad air quality because of increase in vehicle and as well as increase in pollution from point sources and as well as non-point sources. And one important contribution, it is from stubble burning nearby Punjab, Haryana and Western UP region. So because of this, mainly to control air quality index, so this bill mainly introduced. So this bill mainly focuses on better coordination, research, identification and resolution of problems which are revolving around this air quality index in this National Capital Region and as well as areas which are adjoining these regions. And this bill has taken into consideration the concerns of farmers. Okay, after following several rounds of negotiations, so they are raised some concerns regarding penalties and also possible jail terms for stubble burning. So in regions like Punjab, Haryana and Western UP, so these regions are very much famous for green revolution, right? So green revolution started in these regions actually in first. So what happened in this region? So they will go for Rabi crops and as well as Kharif crops. So whenever this Rabi season is happening, they will be having short period of time to clear that stubble. So they will not go for using of any machinery here because it will also leads to increase in cost for farmers. So they will simply set up a fire on this stubble. So because of this, whenever stubble which is burning, that leads to high amount of air pollution, and this polluted air will be carried towards this Delhi, National Capital Region, and that is leading to bad air quality index in Delhi. So here this bill mainly focusing on air quality index, right? So here one important cause for bad air quality index or worsening of air quality index is stubble burning in nearby adjoining areas like Punjab, Haryana and Western UP. So this bill also taken into consideration regarding concerns of farmer. So whenever farmers are going for stubble burning, so under this they said that they are going to have stiff penalties and as well as possible jail terms also. So these are the some things that are also considered here. And if you're talking about applicability of this bill, so this bill applicable to National Capital Region and also areas which are adjoining this National Capital Region. For example, states like Haryana, Punjab, Western UP or UP part and Rajasthan. So if you're talking about proposals of this bill, it mainly says that it is proposing for Commission for Air Quality Management in National Capital Region and adjoining areas. And under this, it is mainly proposing 3 subcommittees. So these 3 subcommittees, they will assist Commission, and also they will have subcommittee on safeguarding and enforcement, including subcommittee on monitoring and identification and subcommittee on research and development. So these subcommittees on research and development, monitoring and identification and also safeguarding enforcement, so they will assist Commission. And if you say what is need of this Commission, so first important thing you need to remember here is, so we need to have a special focus on all the sources of air pollution. For example, which is related to different economic sectors like power sector, agriculture sector, transport, industry, residential and also construction areas. And we need some regional level initiatives, okay, that can be done through city and as well as intercity and as well as a state level coordination. And next one, if you're talking about what is this Commission for Air Quality Management, so here in this area also you can expect prelims question for sure. So this Commission for Air Quality Management, so it is a commission, it was first formed by an ordinance in year 2020 October. Okay, and now we came up with this bill. So erstwhile Environment Pollution Prevention and Control Authority has been dissolved to make a way for this commission, and this will be a statutory body because it will be come up with act soon. And next one is, so this commission will supersede bodies such as central and as well as state pollution control boards at Delhi, Punjab, Haryana, UP and Rajasthan. So what will be the powers and functions of this commission? So first one here is, it will have the powers to issue directions to the state government on issues pertaining to air pollution. So regarding issues which are pertaining to air pollution, so it will have some power and it will give some directions. And next one is, it will entertain complaints and it deems necessary for purpose of protecting and improving the air quality in National Capital Region and as well as adjoining areas. So if it is saying that yes, it is necessary for protecting and as well as we need to maintain air quality in National Capital Regions and as well as adjoining areas, in this area also it will entertain complaints. And next one is, it will come up with some parameters regarding how to control air pollution in this National Capital Region and as well as adjoining areas. And next one is, it will act as in charge of identifying violators and monitoring factories, industries and any other polluting unit in the region. So it is also have the powers to shut down such units which are leading to pollution. And next one is, this commission also have powers to overrule directives issued by state government and in that region. Okay, so if at all any state government which is giving any directives, so here this commission has the powers even to overrule them to maintain air quality. And if you're talking about some other provisions in this bill, so it says that it has decriminalized act of stubble burning and also withdrawn the clause of possible jail term for farmers. And next one is, it also proposed to levy environment compensation fees on those who are found to engaged in stubble burning. So instead of jail term here this bill proposed that there will be compensation that need to be paid by persons who engage in this stubble burning, even including farmers. Okay, so this is about this article. And now let us see next article. Title says, in about 1 hour Rajya Sabha passes 3 bills. So this article mainly talking about 3 important bills that passed within 1 hour. So here it talking about a limited liability partnership amendment bill, and second one here is Deposit Insurance and Credit Guarantee Corporation Bill 2021, and next one is Airports Economic Regulatory Authority Bill 2021. So here regarding this Deposit Insurance and Credit Guarantee Corporation Amendment Bill, we already discussed. So after this monsoon session completed, we are going to come up with which are the important bills that passed. Okay, so that will be important from both our prelims and mains point of view. So don't worry about that part, like which are the bills passed and which are the provisions, what are the significance, what is the issues, everything we are going to discuss, okay, in our future classes. Overall, this topic will be important regarding GS paper 2, which comes under our polity. So now let us try to understand this article in a very great detail. So context says that Rajya Sabha passed 3 bills in about 1 hour. So in 1 hour, Rajya Sabha passed 3 bills, while opposition continued its protest against government on Pegasus spyware issue, and also opposition demanded to repeal 3 farm laws. So what happened on one side, opposition parties, they are going for protest, and here inside this Rajya Sabha, so it already passed 3 bills about 1 hour, within 1 hour. So why opposition are continuing protest? Because of this Pegasus spyware issue, and as well as they are demanding to repeal 3 farm laws. So if you are talking about details of those 3 bills, first one is the Limited Liability Partnership Amendment Bill 2021. So this bill mainly seeks to encourage startup ecosystem, and this bill will also further boost ease of doing business. And next one is Deposit Insurance and Credit Guarantee Corporation Amendment Bill 2021, and this deposit insurance, which mainly talking about to increase from 1 lakh to 5 lakhs. Already we discussed about this scheme in a very great detail, and also I gave you mains question for students who enroll into this current affairs package regarding this deposit insurance scheme and what is significance and what are provisions, right? So here this bill which is mainly focusing on to protect interest of small depositors. And next one is Airports Regulatory Authority Amendment Bill 2021. The third bill here is Airports Economic Regulatory Authority Amendment Bill 2021. So under this bill, it mainly changes definition of major airport, and also this bill will allow government to club together small airports. And this bill also includes airports in smaller cities. So these are the three important bills which passed within 1 hour in Rajya Sabha. And now let us move on to next topic. Title says nod for continuation of fast track special courts. So regarding this fast track courts, already UPSC asked question, and this topic is very important from your polity point of view, which mainly comes under GS paper 2. And from this topic you can expect a mains question. So now let us try to see this topic in a very great detail. So if you see context, it mainly says that Cabinet approved the continuation of 1023 fast track special courts for another 2 years. So for another 2 years, our cabinet approved to continue this fast track special courts, and outlay given for this is 1572.86 crore rupees. And if you see some details, it mainly says that here center share for this is 971.70 crore, and this money will come from Nirbhaya Fund. And since October 2019 onwards, Department of Justice and also Ministry of Law and Justice, which is mainly implementing this centrally sponsored scheme. So this fast track special courts, which is a centrally sponsored scheme, that means the fund will be shared between center and state. So out of this outlay which is given, just 971.7 crore that will come from center, and here remaining at almost 600 crore rupees that will come from states. Okay, so why this fast track courts? For expeditious trial and as well as disposal of pending cases, for example rape cases, offences against children from this POSCO, Prevention of Children from Sexual Offences Act 2012. So mainly for speedy disposal of pending cases regarding rape and as well as some offence against children under this POCSO Act 2012. So this fast track courts came into picture, and this centrally sponsored scheme. And now let us try to understand some basic facts regarding what are these fast track courts. So these fast track courts, in simple, they are special courts for speedy trials. And these courts especially deals with speedy disposal or solution of cases to make judiciary more effective and to avail justice as fast as possible. Mainly it will deals with speedy disposal as well as to come up with solution of cases to make judiciary more effective. So whenever pending of case are increasing, and whenever the trial which is taking long time, means there will be decreasing of trust of people on these courts. So mainly to increase effectiveness of courts, so this type of courts will be very, very important. And it established in year 2000. An important aim it was to clear long pending sessions and as well as other judicial cases. So why we need this type of fast track courts? Because we need to consider amount of pending of cases. So in high courts and as well as even Supreme Court, there is large number of pending cases or huge number of pending cases are present, mainly to clear those. So this type of fast track courts will be very useful. And next one is to reduce the number of under trials in jails. So there is also increase in number of under trials in jails. Okay, so it is mainly violating their right to life. So we need to go for this fast track courts to reduce the number of under trials in jails, and we need a speedy trial. And next one is judiciary's commitment to end sexual and as well as gender based violence. So to achieve this commitment of judiciary, we need to provide speedy and accurate justice, mainly to minimize gender and sexual based violence and to provide justice for these gender and sexual violence victims. So this is just of this topic. And now let us move on to next topic. Title says RTE, right to education, entitlements to be paid through cash transfers. So this topic, this article mainly talking about one important scheme, that is Samagra Shiksha scheme. Okay, so this topic will be important from your GS paper 2 under schemes, policies and programs of government. So every year you can expect questions from this schemes part, at least 2 or 3 questions from these schemes for sure in your prelims. Okay, so this topic will be important from your prelims point of view and even mains also. Now let us try to see this topic in a very great detail. So if you see context, it mainly says that center plans to pay students their right to education entitlements in form of cash transfers. So here center mainly planning to pay students their right to education entitlements in form of cash transfers. So it will comes under part of revamp and extension of this flagship school education scheme. Okay, mainly to revamp and to extend this flagship school education scheme. So that scheme name is Samagra Shiksha scheme. So recently approved by cabinet. So cabinet approved that students need to get their right to education entitlements in form of cash transfers. So if you see some details, it mainly says that the Samagra Shiksha scheme extended till March 2026. So this will be an important prelims fact. And financial outlay of this scheme is rupees 2.94 lakh crore, and it includes a center's share of rupees 1.85 lakh crore. Under this center share, so several new initiatives like early childhood education, foundation literacy, numeracy and language education, they are also included. So if you are talking about especially regarding this Samagra Shiksha, so it is an integrated scheme for 11.6 lakh government and government aided schools. So this Samagra Shiksha, it is an integrated scheme for 11.6 lakh government and government aided schools and over 15 crore students and 57 lakh teachers. Okay, they are included. And next one is it involves 40 to 60% of split of funding. That means we can see it is a centrally sponsored scheme. So sharing is 60% from center and 40% from state. And if you are talking about this direct benefit transfer, so this RTE, right to education entitlements, mainly includes textbooks, uniforms and as well as transport allowances. So this is gist of this topic, and now let us move on to next topic. Title says black topping of road near LAC completed. So this article, it is very important because so this road which is world's highest motorable road. So this is world's highest motorable road. It is located in now eastern Ladakh. So this article will be important regarding infrastructure, which mainly comes under economy, and this topic can also studied under our geography also. So this topic will be very important from your GS paper 1 and also GS paper 3, and you can expect a question from your prelims, okay, in prelims from this topic. And also if you are preparing for any state public service examination also, so you can get a simple question like, so world's highest motorable road which is located at. So in this way you can expect a question. And now let us try to see this topic in a very great detail. So if you see context, it mainly says that the Border Road Organization has constructed and completed black topping of this world's highest motorable road. So this road, which is located in Umingla in eastern Ladakh, and it located altitude of 19,300 feet, and this road, it is about 52 kilometers. And BRO Border Road Organization has created a record in high altitude road construction. Okay, so if you are talking about roads, we are having national highways, we are having state highways, and also we are having district roads, okay, and we are also having village roads or rural roads. So apart from this, we are also having this border roads. So this border roads which comes under construction. So these construction and maintenance that will be done by this Border Road Organization. So this is one important prelims fact that you need to know. And if you are talking about details, it mainly says that road built under this project Himak. So under this project Himak, this road was built by this BRO, and this mainly passes through this Umingla top and connects Chesmul, and as well as Demchok villages. So this Demchok village we studied somewhere, right? So we studied at LAC, that is at line of actual control. So this is also one unresolved area between India and China. So through these villages, so this road mainly passes. So this road which is very much near or close to line of actual control. So whenever we have this type of roads which is very much near to line of actual control, so this will be very much helpful to allow quick movement of troops and as well as equipment. And if you're talking about what are the challenges faced by these border road organizations, so first one is there is harsh climate. So in peak summer, the temperature will be -10 to -20 degrees centigrade, and in winter it was -40 degrees centigrade. And oxygen level, it is also very less here. So whatever the oxygen level which is seen at normal places, and if you're comparing with that oxygen with this place here, so we have only 50% of oxygen there. And there is all because of this harsh conditions that led to decrease in efficiency of manpower and as well as machines in this high altitude. So this is gist of this topic. And now let us see next topic. Title says CERT in tracks 6.07 lakh cyber security incidents. So this article mainly talking about the cyber security incidents, and here you need to focus on what is this CERT in. So this article will be important from your cyber security, which comes under GS paper 3. So now let us try to understand this topic in a very great detail. So if you see context, it mainly says that CERT in, it is Indian Computer Emergency Response Team. Indian Computer Emergency Response Team, which observed that over 6.07 lakh cyber security incidents in the first 6 months of 2021. So in first 6 months of 2021, there were about 6.07 cyber security incidents they were observed by this CERT in. Okay, out of which about 12,000 incidents they are related to government organizations. So if you see further more details, it mainly says that number which, if you see data in 2018, it was 2,08,456 cyber attacks, and now in 2019 it is 3,94,499. In 2020 it was 11,59,000 approximately, and here recently last 6 months only it recorded 6.07 lakh cyber security incidents. And the total number of cyber security incident, which includes hacking of about 15,651 Indian websites in 2021. In 2018, it was 17,560 websites they were attacked. In 2019, 24,768 websites attacked. And in 2020, 26,121 website attacks. And now within these 6 months, there is hacking of 15,651 websites in India. So if you're talking about facts regarding this CERT in, so it is an organization of Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology. An important objective of this CERT in is securing Indian cyberspace. And nodal agency, it is one of the nodal agency which deals with cyber security threats like hacking and as well as phishing. And it also collects, analyzes and disseminates information on cyber incidents, and it also issues alert on cyber security incidents. And this CERT in mainly provides incident prevention and response services, cyber security quality management services. So these are some important services which is provided by this CERT in. So this is gist of this topic. Now let us see next topic. Title says over the borderline. So this article mainly talking about Assam Mizoram issue. Okay. So we already discussed about what is the history and what is the background and what led to this Assam Mizoram issue. Right. So now let us try to see what is written in this article. So this topic will be important from security, which comes under GS paper 3, and you can expect questions from this topic only in mains, not much in prelims. But in prelims you can see questions like where are this so and so Sachar area, where are this Lushai Hills is present, and what's the agreement between Assam and Mizoram, that you can expect from your prelims point of view. Now let us see the issue which is discussed. Okay, so if you see tensions, if you see the tension which is happening between Assam and Mizoram, so here what happened, respective government announcing that withdrawal of FIRs against the Chief Minister of Assam and as well as Rajya Sabha MP from Mizoram. So what happened now, the tensions are happening and now the respective governments of Assam and as well as Mizoram, they said that they are going to withdraw FIRs. Okay, and actions mainly followed after death of 6 policemen and a civilian from Assam in violent gunfight. And also there are some retaliatory actions that are seen, like firing of FIRs on each other, and especially local people who are in Barak Valley, they had already imposed a blockade. So because of this blockade, they are not allowing trucks with essential goods from entering Mizoram. So now government had taken a decision to withdraw police forces from 4 kilometers of this disputed stretch, and they are going to install the central paramilitary forces till the permanent solution for this issue was found. And next one is PIL filed before Aiswal bench of Guwahati High Court against this economic blockade. So now chief ministers seem to committed to come up with talks. So if you're talking about role of these paramilitary forces, so their role it is to support the stop the violence and as well as to secure peace in broader areas between these states. Okay, and maintaining of peace in these areas will be the one of important thing that will be utmost important. And what can be done here? So here we need to go for people oriented approach by respective authorities that will help for facilitation of center that can be achieved. So whatever the important aim, that is we need to maintain peace. So this peace can be achieved only when people oriented approach which is taken. So if you're talking about Assam and Mizoram, they are part of our Indian Union. So interstate cooperation and cohesion, they are very much important features of our federal structure, federal system. So this is to be maintained and as far as possible, as soon as possible. So this people oriented approach that should be taken up. So this is just of this topic. And now let us see next topic. Title says a language ladder for an education roadblock. So this article mainly focusing on mother tongue can be used in professional courses. So this article was written by our Venkaiah Naidu, okay, Vice President. So this article will become important. So whenever you are choosing articles to read, so you have to see authors also. So authors will also play an important role. So this topic will be important from our education point of view, which comes under GS paper 2. So now let us try to see this topic in a very great detail. So if you see context, it mainly says that recently 14 engineering colleges across 8 states, they are going to offer this professional courses like engineering in regional language from new academic year. So this is the one of the revolutionary step. So recently here 14 engineering colleges across 8 states, they decided to offer professional courses like engineering in regional languages. So it is a one of revolutionary step which is taken in our education. So even ICTE, okay, even ICT took decision to permit this BTech programs in 11 native languages. So it is according to National Education Program. So those languages include Assamese, Punjabi, Odia, Bengali, Malayalam, Hindi, Marathi, Tamil, Telugu, Kannada and Gujarati. So this is the one of the important thing, because many millions of students, they are seeking to pursue their professional courses in their mother tongue. So what will be advantage if they are going for their education mother tongue? They can understand the concepts and they can reproduce much, and they can do some excels. Okay, they will do excellence whenever they are understanding concept. So whenever one student who is in mother tongue language, if he or she shifted to other alien languages, means they cannot understand concepts and they cannot reproduce well, and in exams also they will fail, such that they are not going to get good employment opportunities. So this is the one of the important revolutionary step that we took in our education system. And even AICT come up with a survey of about 83,000 students. Nearly 44% of students, they voted in favor of studying engineering in their mother tongue. So not only this, but also many multiple studies, they proved that children who learn in their mother tongue, in early formative years, they can perform better than those who taught in alien languages. And next one is UNESCO and other organizations have been emphasizing on the fact that learning in mother tongue will build self-esteem, self-identity, and as well as overall development of children. And even Nobel laureate Sir C.V. Raman also said that we must teach science in our mother tongue. Otherwise, science will become a highbrow activity. Okay, so whenever we are going to teach science in mother tongue, then children and students, they will understand it well and they will apply that in their daily life, such that that will increase in productivity of education, and even that will leads to increase in participation of students. So if you're talking about global practices, even China will even China, many universities, they are going to teach in their Mandarin language. Even South Korea, 70% of universities, they will teach in Korean language, and Japanese also go with Japanese language in majority of universities. Even France and Germany in Europe, they will go for this mother tongue in their professional courses. And if you're talking about France, it also came up with a French only policy that should be taught only in French. Okay, so these are the global practices, and not only this engineering but also different courses like humanities and as well as medicine, so and so, that can be also taken up in this mother tongue language. Okay, so this is the gist of this topic. And now let us move on to next topic. So before saying this, I want to make a small announcement. So if you want to clear UPSC 2022, we came up with one excellent, highly beneficial and also highly economical course, that is current affairs package along with mains answer writing practice. So how this course will be useful to clear UPSC 2022? So one thing you need to remember here is, before entering into examination hall, you need to know at least 1.5 years current affairs for sure. And this is right time to join this course to cover this 1.5 years current affairs in a comprehensive manner. And why you need to focus on this current affairs? Because in prelims, in mains and even in interview, you can get questions from this current affairs. To answer those questions, you need to master current affairs. And next one is mains answer writing practice. So many students who are especially freshers or beginners, they ignore this mains answer writing practice. So because of this, even though if you are doing hard work and even though if you clear prelims, you cannot clear mains without this answer writing practice. And here we are focusing on how to improve your answer writing skills. And next important thing here is, we also conduct prelims test on every Sunday, and we also provide a video explanation part. So in this way, this course which is designed as per demand of UPSC. So finally, I want to say one thing. Please don't take this course as a choice. Try to join this course as soon as possible and achieve your dream of clearing UPSC. Details of this course which is given in description box, so please visit that once. And if you want to talk to me directly, you can call to this number. So please make a note, 8074765513. Now let's come back and let us see next topic. Title says no fundamental right to strike. So what is this right to strike? For example, now let us see one example. Okay, for example, there is industry. So in this industry, let us consider there are 100 workers are present, but these owners so and so, they are not providing good amenities for these workers, and workers, they decide that they should not go to office and they need to strike here. For example, to increase their charges. Okay, for example, to provide so and so, to provide so and so quarters, or to provide so and so. So because of all these issues, these people decided that they don't want to go for work and they want to strike here. So recently one bill which introduced, so this bill is Essential Defense Service Bill 2021, and this bill says that whoever the workers who are working in these defense companies, like if you're talking about defense companies, they will prepare many defense services or defense related equipments, like we can say bomb, we can say gun, so and so. For example, ordnance factory board, let us take this. So the people who are working in this defense related things, they do not go to strike. So this is in simple about this bill. So now let us try to understand this topic. So this topic will be important again from polity point of view, which comes under GS paper 2. So if you see context, it mainly says that recently Ministry of Defence introduced Essential Defence Service Bill 2021 in Lok Sabha. So this bill mainly seeks to provide for maintenance of essential defence services and to secure security of nation and life and property of public at the large. So this bill focusing on to secure safety and as well as security of nation, life and property of people, and also to prevent staff to the government owned ordnance factories going from strike. So this bill also preventing who are working in these ordnance factories to go for strike. And this bill mainly seeks to empower the government to declare services which are mentioned as essential defense services, and also to prohibit strikes and lockouts in any industrial establishment. So in any industrial establishment which is related to defense, so in that areas, here government can go for prohibiting of strikes and as well as lockouts. So however, one important thing you need to remember here is government assured that Ordnance Factory Board employees, their services conditions will not be affected. So their conditions will not be affected, but if they are going for strike, they cannot go for this strike. So if you're talking about some facts of this bill, so this bill replaced ordinance which issued in June 2021. So in June 2021 ordinance issued. So here this bill mainly seeks to replace that ordinance. And this bill prohibits any agitation and strike by anyone who is engaged in this essential defense services. So first of all, what are these essential defense services? So these essential defense services mainly include any service in any establishment or undertaking dealing with production of goods and equipment which required for defense related purposes. So this essential defense services which mainly includes any services in any establishment or undertaking a dealing with production of goods or equipment which mainly required for defense related purposes, or any establishment of armed forces or connected with the armed forces or defense. And if you're talking about services, whatever the services are provided that would cease or would affect the safety of establishment engaged in such services or its employees. So now let us try to talk about what is the definition of this strike according to this bill. So this strikes, which is mainly defined as cessation, that is stopping of work by a body of persons acting together. So when a body or a group of persons which are acting together, that is leading to stopping of work, that will comes under strike. So it may be through this mass casual leave of workers or refusal to work overtime if it is very much necessary for maintenance of essential defense services, and coordinated refusal of any number of persons to continue to work or to accept employment, or any other conduct with results in likely to result in disruption of work. So these all will comes under strike. Okay. And next one is government may prohibit strikes, lockouts and also layoff in units. Okay. And if you're talking about punishment, so by through illegal lockouts or layoff, it will attract 1 year of imprisonment or 10,000 rupees of fine or both. And whenever any person who is commencing or participating in illegal strike, so they will attracted under 1 year imprisonment along with the fine of rupees 10,000 or both. And next one is whenever any person who is instigating, inciting or taking actions to continue illegal strikes, then they will be attracted with this 2 years of imprisonment and or 15,000 rupees as fine or both. And if you're talking about offences, so offences under this bill will be cognizable and non-bailable. Cognizable means even without inquiry there will be immediate arrest will be done. Okay, non-bailable means they will not get any bail. So this is gist of this topic. So by this we are concluding today. So before concluding, I want to give you one suggestion. So there is another key scheme which is seen in today's newspaper, that is MP Lads. So please let me know about this MP Lads in comment box. So if you don't know about this MP Lads scheme, let me know in comment box, and in tomorrow's lecture we are going to start, okay, with our lecture with this MP Lads. So by this we are concluding today. I hope you enjoyed this lecture. Please subscribe to my channel and don't forget to like, share and comment my videos. and don't forget to enroll to this current affairs package. Thank you so much.